welcome to New Rose Glow. I'm doing Annabe's 7-step formula to success in her School of Affluence, and today I want to talk to you about what to do when you're getting fired. Now, I was recently let go from my position, and I am at peace with it, and I like to think that a lot of it came to preparation. If you're in a situation like I am, I'd like to give you some advice, and hopefully this will go smoothly for you as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is what to do before you get fired. So if you have some sort of suspicion that your job is at risk, I want to give you tips on what you should do then. And then if for some reason you are let go, I want to tell you what to do immediately after you are let go. And then I want to talk a little bit about, in general, some things you should do after you are separated from your job. So let's jump right in. The first thing you should do before you get fired, this is if you ever suspect that you're going to lose your job, which I did because I was in a situation where my job had let me know that things were a little shaky, so I prepared immediately. These are some of the things that I did, and I hope that they help you. Step 1, think about the firing situation and what you want to do about it. So this seems like a big one right off the bat, but you want to know just within yourself if you really want to fight back, if you want to just accept it, or if you want to negotiate any terms. There are a lot of things that you can do when you suspect you're going to get let go. And in my case, I decided that I would just accept it and move forward with whatever other steps I had laid out for me. Step 2, clear all personal items out of the office. So you do have to take your things out of the office. You don't want to be surprised one day and for them to come in with a box and say, get everything right now, and then you have to leave things behind. So what I did was take all my personal items out of the office physically and off of the computer. If I had any pictures or files that were really important to me, I made sure that I took them with me before anyone surprised me with a firing situation. Step 3, make a list of what you want to get from the job before leaving. So this could be your contacts, any relationships or recommendations. If there's something that you feel like you started this job to get, make sure you get it before you leave. I had a long list of reasons why I wanted to work at the company I was working at, and they included things I wanted to get from the company. And when I started thinking about, well, this is a situation where my job is at risk, it was kind of chaotic where I thought, oh, I have to get everything quickly. It's always good when you start a job to get what you want from the job as early as possible. But if you're in a situation like I was, where it kind of just sprung up on you last minute, then it's a good idea to see what you can get with the time that you do have remaining. Step 4, come up with a plan for your next course of action. So that could be, are you going to look for another job? Are you using up your leave time? So this is something that it sounds ridiculous, but I wish I took more vacation time before I was let go, because I had a lot of vacation time stored up and I could have spent that time just enjoying myself at home or planning for my next course of employment action instead of having it all stored up at the company. Number 5, prepare to go through the firing process. So it can be a whole ordeal being let go. For me, my manager was there, HR was there, I had another superior HR person in the room, and you have to prepare for that both mentally and emotionally, and know what your company's policies are when it does come to firing, how they let go the other people. If you can figure out what their process is, you can better prepare. Make sure you have your questions prepared as well. So think about what's going to happen to your health insurance? What's going to happen to any paid overtime? Like I have paid overtime from holidays I didn't take or time off that I didn't take. Any statements you want to make just last minute. So if you want to make sure the company has something on record that you have put out there, make sure that you have that statement prepared so that if you are called into HR's office or into your manager's office, you have your statement ready. Any negotiation terms you have, so let's say you want severance pay or you want to continue your health benefits a little longer than what's normally given, then this is a good time for you to have those negotiation points ready. And then your goodbye process. So unfortunately, a lot of companies will just rush you through the door as soon as possible the second you're let go to make sure they don't have any security issues. If you do have some people you want to say goodbye to, or there's any letters you want to write, I know it's strange, but go ahead and write those letters early, because you may lose access to the contact information of the people you want to send it to. So at very least, get their emails and make a list of the people you want to contact. And if there are people you want to physically hug and say goodbye, then make that list too and let HR know. In my situation, I was kind of being hushed or hurried through the door, and I stopped and asked HR if I could say goodbye to certain people, and they said, okay, as long as we're able to be there with you. So that was fine, but at least I knew exactly who I wanted to say goodbye to in the order I wanted to say goodbye, and exactly what I wanted to say. Some tips before you get fired. Know how much money and what assistance you need. So I went ahead and did a calculation of my expenses so that I know exactly how much I need to ask. Let's say I did want to negotiate some terms with the company and get some severance pay. I know exactly how much I want to ask for. I also know, in case I'm looking for another position, how much money I need to be looking for the next position. If there's any assistance I need, I don't have any children, but if I did have children, I might need to ask for childcare or look for childcare as well. And at least knowing the things that I need in a list helps me know exactly what my situation would be. Don't slack off at work. So this is a hard one for some people. I have friends who've also been let go from work, and we've agreed that this is the trickiest one, because the second you have an inclination that you may be let go, it's easy to say, I'm done here. There's no reason for me to work hard. But it's really important for you to, because one, you want to make sure your reputation stays intact. You want people to say you were a hard worker and that you were good right into the end. And then two, you may need a recommendation from the people who are letting you go. So you don't want them to later on go through your files or go through any of your work process and see that the last few weeks you decided just to, as we say, ride the time clock, to spend all your time enjoying yourself instead of doing your work. And the third thing, to consider the pros and cons of quitting. So if you know you're going to be let go, consider leaving before you get let go. So in my case, I decided to wait until they let me go, because there's a host of benefits I can get if I'm let go instead of quitting. You do forego a lot of government benefits if you quit here in the state of Georgia. So it's important for you to outweigh it, because if you quit, you could also salvage your reputation. Maybe you can really control the terms in which you were let go and say the reason, really control that narrative. So it's really important for you to decide what's going to be more important to you, controlling the narrative of why you were let go or why you're not working at the company, or getting the benefits of being let go by the company. Now let's stop for a second and get into what to do immediately after you've been fired. So let's say worst comes to worst, you are called into the office and they say, oh, I'm sorry, sir or miss, we have to let you go. What are some things you should do just right in that moment? The first thing is be polite and courteous. All the advice I'm giving you, please just wash it with the veil of being polite and courteous. You want to make sure that they are willing to negotiate on your terms, and they'll be more willing to negotiate with you, whether it comes to saying goodbye to your coworkers or even the terms that you've created, if you are polite and courteous. In my situation, I didn't even have security called, which usually their protocol is to have security guards escort you through the building, but they didn't do that because I was so polite and courteous. And I think it's really important, just in general, for you to have a positive situation overall, is just to stay in a good frame of mind. The second thing is go through the firing process. Ask the right questions, the ones that you came up with before you got fired, hopefully. Ask questions like what's going to happen to your insurance, what's going to happen to the rest of your benefits, or whatever it is. Make the appropriate statements. So if you have statements prepared, go ahead and make them. And then say your goodbyes to coworkers. I know it could be an overwhelming situation, but it is important to exit as gracefully as you entered when you started your job. So if you have coworkers, no matter how you feel about them, it is a good idea to at least say goodbye. Number 3, get your separation of employment paperwork. Now this one, if you do nothing else, please do it. Make sure that you get your final day, the actual day that you're let go, written on a document. Get your ending salary, the reason for your dismissal, and your benefits information. Now, if you are going to be applying for any kind of government assistance or benefit assistance, you will need this information. In fact, if you're applying for another job, you may need this information. So if you do nothing else, please get your documentation from your employer. Number 4, collect your items and say your goodbyes. So a lot of people leave things behind when they're saying goodbye because they don't know what's in their office. So this is a good time for you to think clearly, consider what's most important for you to gather, and then if you do forget something, send a message to HR and ask them to either mail your items back or to allow a time for you to come back and get them. And then do say your goodbyes to your fellow coworkers, no matter how you feel about them. It's good for you to leave on good terms. What I did next was to go home. Go straight home. Don't stop at the movies. Don't stop at the bar. Just go straight home. Put your things away. And then what I did, you can do this in any other order, and this is like a lot of the optional stuff, but what I did was sign up for unemployment benefits. It takes anywhere from 2 weeks to a month to get unemployment benefits where I live. And so I would still be waiting on paychecks if I delayed in the process of signing up for it. So I signed up immediately so that I can start that process. Step 6, only tell family and close friends. They are your support system. So it's really important that you do have support in this time and that it's the right people. So maybe if your family is not your support system, then find your friends. Find someone you can talk to and who's going to say something positive to you. It's really important that you have someone who's going to encourage you and also help you see more clearly in case you are having clouded judgment. Step 7, identify other sources of assistance. So you remember that list we made before of everything that you need to live your life normally? You can find things like free workouts. Maybe there's a meetup group that you can go and work out with instead of your company's gym. Rideshare assistance. So if you used to get a company car and you're used to going long distances or running your errands with a company car, then it's really important that you find a replacement for those rides. I'm going to do something called Dress for Success. It is an organization that helps women with dressing professionally when they're looking for new employment. And it's only available to people who need assistance. And technically now I need assistance. So that's one program I can tap into. And if you have a program like that that can help you with how are you going to get professional clothes now, then that's something you can tap into. There are also free healthcare clinics. Now I know I'm talking about things not everyone may have access to. I live in the United States and we have a lot of programs like this, and especially in Atlanta where I'm living right now, there are tons of programs. So if you don't have free health clinics, please look for some other way that you can get your health taken care of. And educational job training. There are a lot of those programs where I live right now, and if you have access to getting more skills for your next job or even just an opportunity for you to branch out into a new field, that's a good thing for you to tap into. There are a lot of resources out there. I would encourage you to do as much research as possible. Now some tips for immediately after you get let go. Don't post anything on social media until you have completely resolved a positive narrative. It's really important that you don't go on Facebook or Instagram or even on YouTube, which I'm doing right now. Don't go on social media until you have your story straight as to why you were let go, and make sure your story isn't one that blames your previous employer very heavily or one that paints you in a negative light. You want to go ahead and think of exactly what your employer said was the reason why you were let go, and then think of something you're comfortable with to explain to people. Be able to talk about the firing situation in terms that you're most comfortable with. So it doesn't matter that your employer said something harshly on a sheet of paper. You have to translate it in a way that people can understand and that is also truthful. And then step 3. Now this is going to be the one that's probably going to tug at you the most, but it's get recommendations. Now, it's difficult when you leave a situation where someone has decided to let you go to turn right back around and ask for a recommendation, not knowing exactly what they would write. But this is the best time to get a recommendation. When people are at an emotional high, sometimes they have more empathy for you than if you were to wait longer and let them really hash out how they feel. So this is a time to take opportunity. Take the opportunity to get recommendations from all your coworkers, from your supervisor, because this is just more likely when they're going to say something positive, because they'll empathize with the fact that you're the one being let go. Now let's talk a little bit about what to do in general after you've been fired. Step 1, take time to breathe and process. It's so important that you do realize why you were let go and think about how you can avoid that situation in the future. And then also how you can mentally process what's happening to you. You are going through a life change and you need to take care of yourself more than you were before. You can go to counseling or to therapy or to a psychiatrist if it gets to that point. You just really need to think about what's going to help you get through this situation. Step 2, reflect on what you want to do next and come up with some milestones and actionable steps. So now we're getting into goal setting. What do you want to do? I wouldn't encourage you to jump directly into the same kind of job again, because maybe that job wasn't the best fit for you. Maybe there is a reason tied to you being in that field as to why you're not still working at that company. So think about what you actually want to do in the future. This could be a great opportunity for you to try something out. Step 3, update your resume and portfolio. This is physical and online, so your website and your social media. Make sure that you've posted everything that you've done at your last job, all your skills, your software, anything that's going to really paint you in a light of being capable of doing a great job in whatever new field that you go into or new position that you go into. Step 4, come up with your elevator pitch and start talking to people. So go ahead and think about what you're going to say to people when they ask you what you do or why you're not working at the other company. Have a little short spiel that's concise and pleasant to hear so that people aren't concerned when they hear that you're not working with that company and they ask you what you're going to do next. Step 5, reach out to old contacts and clients. So if you were making money from clients or from contacts, you were getting leads on jobs, this is a good time to reach out and say, hey, I'm available again. Some things you might want to do is say that, actually I got a really good line from one of my, I like to say encouragers, one of my encouragers on Instagram, and it was, thank you for supporting me throughout these years or time or whatever span it was, and then if you'd like to continue supporting me, you can refer me, or you can contact me again. Yes, that's what it was. So you can reach out to your old contacts and then get them to help you with moving forward in your career. Step 6, register with a temp agency. Now, I love temp agencies. I've joined plenty of them. As someone who is an artist, I've had plenty of hiatuses where I've had 2 to 3 month spans of not having work. And in that time, I joined temp agencies and they helped me find temporary employment at various companies. So I got to try out a lot of different jobs and try out what it would be like to work at certain companies. It was a very fun experience and I would recommend doing it to anyone. 7, your classic job hunt. So this is you searching online for jobs and classified listings and also getting out there and networking. As an artist, more than 80% of our job opportunities are never posted online. So it's really important when I'm searching for a job, or if you're searching for a job, to go out and speak to people and let them know you're looking for work and these are your qualifications. Now, you don't want to come off as someone who's just trying to get work out of someone. You want to start a relationship with people. So this is going to be something where you're meeting people several times over and over and slowly getting to the point that you would like an opportunity from them. So what I like to do is go out to events, introduce myself, get to know how I can help someone else. And through my ability to help someone else, they'll inquire about what my skills and what my background is, and then I can start sharing the fact that I work in this field and actually I'm open for work right now. Step 8, look for a side hustle. Now, there are a lot of side hustle videos out there on what you can do to earn money. Some things I'm going to do is teach English. I've taught English before when I was in college, and I'm going to do it again. Now, this is something I can do at any time on video, and so it's a lot of flexible hours, and it'll be easy for me to continue looking for the kind of work I want to do in the future while I'm doing teaching English. I'll also be an extra in movies. I love film and television, and I love that whole industry in general. So there are a lot of opportunities for you to be a background actor and to join in on the fun on screen and to be an extra, and that's what I'm going to do. And also tutoring. So I have skills that I can teach other people, and I'm going to teach them it either with a company or on my own. And then lastly, create your own opportunities. Things that I do to create my own money is consultations and hosting workshops. So this is another way, kind of like the tutoring, but it's 100% me. I create my own ads, I find my own clients, I find my own spaces to host these events, and then I collect all the funds. Some tips for you in general after getting fired is take care of your health and your physical appearance. It's so important that you do not get sick right now, especially if you don't have health benefits. And also, you want to make sure you're keeping up with your appearance. You want to look good. This is kind of like when people say fake it till you make it. Well, hopefully you're not faking it. You actually are doing well. But you don't want to look like things are not going well in your life. You want to keep up the appearance of things are okay. Number 2, strategically cut back on expenses. So you want to be strategic, keyword strategic about cutting back on your expenses. You don't want to just stop paying for anything that's extra because some things actually will help you get a job. One thing I'm going to cut back on is like my subscription services. So if I have a subscription service that is purely for entertainment, it's not helping me learn anything, it's not helping me further myself in my industry, I'll cut back on that. Things I'm not going to cut back on are networking. So going out to events and paying for my ride shares to get there, I'm not going to cut back on that because networking is a huge way that I can get more opportunities. So I'm going to continue doing that. One thing that I am going to do, definitely, and I would encourage you to do if you're a student who has student loans, or if you're out of school and you still have student loans, is to halt your student loans. Go ahead and ask them to defer them so that you're not worrying about that payment as well. Step 3, don't be afraid to ask for help. So there are so many people out there that care about you and that maybe have said that they care about you, and maybe you haven't taken them up on their offer to assist you whenever you need assistance. This might be the time to do that. Give them an opportunity to prove themselves as good friends to you and allow them to help you. It can actually strengthen your relationship. Another thing is to stay positive. So it's easy to get negative and to say, oh, well, I got let go, bad things are happening in my life, and then to stay balled up in a corner, really sad. But honestly, that is not a good way to go about it because it's not going to help you in the slightest bit move forward. Also, make daily schedules. I like to make a full list of what I'm going to do each day and then a list of what I'm going to do in the week. What I normally do is make my week list first and then cherry pick items off for my day as to what's going to be most plausible for what I'll get to have done. And then be careful not to start bad habits. So this is one reason why I say the first thing you should do after getting fired is not go straight to the bar, because you don't want to start the habit of drinking or of maybe watching lots of television or of sleeping in your room all day. Anything that's going to make you unproductive is not a habit you want to start. This is a time for you to start new things. Maybe there's something you wanted to do but you couldn't because of your job. Now you can start dabbling in that. Some things I've done, I started making a smoothie every single morning, and I love smoothies and I'd never had time for them. And I also started doing yoga in the morning, which is great, and I feel really good. So find habits like that that you can start. And the last tip I want to give you is to do the steps. This video has been full of different tips for you, and you actually have to do them if you're going to be successful. There are other things that you can do before you get fired, immediately, after you're getting fired, and in general when you're getting fired. And if you have additional advice on any of these subjects, I would love for you to put in the comment section so that we all can learn more from them. If you like content like this, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you'll know when I make another video. Hit the like button if you like it. If you don't like it, don't hit anything. Don't hit anything. And please leave me a comment on how you feel about the advice I gave you. And if it applies to your area, every area is different and there's different advice for people who have different situations. So I'd love to hear what are some things that you would prefer to do. I hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.